Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. We should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome, episode 616 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fab with you here. It is July 10th, 2024. Padres, they have lost 4 games in a row. They dropped both games to the Seattle Mariners. For those watching on YouTube, just right out of the chute, my setup isn't the same that it usually is. Just bear with me here tonight. I appreciate those that do. Podcast listeners, I don't think that you're going to notice any difference. I hope you don't notice any difference, but thank you as well for listening. But yeah, Padres, they are struggling right now offensively. Regardless of what Mike Schilt wants to say post game, and he is right when he talks about the Padres, this stretch of games where they face some good pitching with Logan Gilbert yesterday, and then today with Bryce Miller. But at the same time, if the Padres have high expectations on themselves, which Manny also had a weird quote on that yesterday, when he was asked by Marty Caswell about expectations and how, the Padres, they have 5 All-Stars. Do you have do your expectations do you expect more, I guess? I don't know. I forget the exact question, but do you expect more of yourselves because you have 5 All-Stars and that proves how good of a team and how talented of a team this team is, And Manny didn't really respond to that very well. He didn't like words being put in his mouth, even though words were not being put in his mouth. The media has a job to do to ask questions, and he gave a weird answer. I think he could have just stopped halfway through his answer, but then it seemed like he was getting defensive with the media, and Manny does that. But just getting back to my point, regardless of what they say, really regardless of what Mike Schilt says, because obviously he wants to have everything be positive, and I do understand that to a degree. The Padres are struggling right now. But if you do want to hop on the Mike Schilt train and be optimistic, it's that, hey, the Padres, they're still in a playoff spot. They've lost 4 games in a row. They're only a couple games over 500 after losing these games. And we're almost at the All-Star break, and they've got a bunch of injuries, and they're still in a playoff spot. So what's going to happen when they don't have these stretches of this offense not being able to score very much runs for its pitching? Now, I think that we're going to still see this Padre baseball this season. It's baseball. And I agree when Manny says that and Merrill says that. I agree that, yeah, it's baseball. You're going to run into good pitching. Sometimes your offense just isn't going to be clicking. But what is going to happen when Bogarts gets back? When hopefully Musgrove gets back? When Darvish hopefully gets back? When the Padres add some pitching and it's not Adam Mazur pitching as the 5th starter? What's going to happen then? What's going to happen when hopefully Tatis gets back? The Padres, they're without some big guys right now, and they're still in a playoff spot after losing 4 games in a row. So if you want to look at it glass half full, go ahead. You can do it that way. If you just want to be reactionary to what's happening right now, you're going to say that was a really bad series. And yeah, I agree. Results-wise, that was not a good series, especially yesterday. You scored 3 runs, but you were out of it. And it's not even just offense. It was the whole package yesterday. Adam Mazur, obviously, getting the Padres behind. And then through, 6 innings, it was 5-0. It was 7-0 through 6.5 after the Mariners had hit in their top of the 7th. So yesterday, I get it, it was Logan Gilbert. He's the better pitcher than Bryce Miller, I think. But that was frustrating because it was such a quick game, quick innings from the Seattle Mariners pitching. Mainly Logan Gilbert. Yes, today the Padres got shut out, but today was just one of those where it felt like it just wasn't their day. I mean, Brett Sullivan hit a ball that, from my vantage point in my seats, I see those fly balls to right, and I can tell if it's a home run or not, well before it's going to land. And I thought that ball was going to be barely a home run. And it ended up being a fly out to the warning track. And so right there, it's like, okay, it's just probably not the Padres' day. Luis Ariz has that air through his legs, makes it 1-0 Seattle. And then Ariz smacked the ball to first. Ty France makes this like Jordan jump catch, Tatis jump catch, if you will. Didn't know he could get up that high. And so, yeah, they were just, and then obviously to end the game, David Peralta puts together a good at bat. He's fouling off pitches against Andres Munoz, who looked pretty darn nasty today with his slider. And Peralta lines one softly, but still lines one to center, and it ends up getting caught. Well, not to center, but it looked like it was maybe going to be a single. Maybe the Padres were going to get those 2 runs to tie this game up there with 1 out left, their life on the line, at least for this game, and just didn't do it. So it was just one of those where it was a game of inches. You know, the liner by Ariz, Sullivan, you know, a couple feet from being a home run. Ariz, I didn't see the replay because I was obviously at the game, but I don't know how close he was to stopping that ball that went through his legs. But just game of inches. Who made more mistakes today? The Padres did. And that's a big reason why the Mariners were able to win this game. It was cool. You know, the crowd today, another great crowd. We wanted something to cheer for. That's for sure. It's crazy how quiet Petco can be with how many people that are there. It's crazy how quiet it can be when the Padres aren't giving us very much to get excited about. I like the hat. I don't know if you guys like the hat, but I think it's pretty cool. 1984 NL Champs is on the inside of it. So anyone that went to the game and got that hat, hopefully you like the hat as well. But yeah, that was like the best part of the game was the hat giveaway, which sucks. I was hoping the Padres were that they were going to be able to split this series after last night. You know, you got Michael King on the mound, and Michael King, you could say he deserved to win this game. Obviously, Ariz had that error, so it's not like that run should have scored. And he gave up the RBI single, sure, to Jorge Polanco there in the top of the 4th, made it 2-0 Mariners, but he didn't get any run support, literally 0 run support. Now, at least they got runners in scoring position. They didn't do that the last 2 games. 0 runners in scoring position. 0 at-bats, I should say, with runners in scoring position. That last game against the D-backs and the first game against the Mariners. So it's pretty much impossible to win, especially when you're facing Logan Gilbert in one of those games. Pretty much impossible to win when you're doing that. And then today they got runners in scoring position. They had at-bats with runners in scoring position, but then they went 1 for 6 and left 7 guys on base, and there were a couple of errors. So, yeah, I mean, Michael King, though, if we want to talk about a positive, him going 6 innings today, 1 earned run, struck out 9, only walked 1 guy. He is the Seth Lugo of the Padres this year, and we got to give A.J. Preller and the Padres credit, right? Last year, they go get Seth Lugo, and there's the question mark of, oh, well, he hasn't pitched this many innings in his career. It's been a long time since he had started, and look what happens. He ends up pitching well for the Padres, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball this year with the Kansas City Royals. So Preller knows what he's talking about there when you want to convert a reliever back into a starter. And he does the same thing here with Michael King, saw that potential with the Yankees, acquires him in the Soto trade, puts him into the rotation, and Michael King has been healthy the whole year, hasn't been on the IL unless I'm totally blanking on a time that he did. And he's been inconsistent a little bit, but there's been plenty of outings where he's went those 6 innings for the Padres, and he has not been the reason why the Padres have lost. And today was just one of those examples. Morejon, Estrada, Suarez, they all pitched today. It was a close game. There was the off day tomorrow. They didn't pitch yesterday. There was the off day the day before that. So they were going to get in the game if it was a close game. And the offense, you know, the bullpen, like they did their job. King did his job starting, and the offense just wasn't able to get it done. There were situations there late with Jerks and Profar up at the plate. I believe there was a runner in scoring position there for Profar. I want to say it was the 7th inning. So 6th inning was the line out to France by Ariz. where France got up big. I thought that was going to be a double down the line. And then Profar singles, of course, the next batter. So maybe that was going to be a run if France doesn't get that ball. Where was it? Eighth inning. So Sully walked, Arias singled. So now there's runners on first and second. Munoz comes into the game. And I wasn't watching the game on TV, so I can't tell how nasty those sliders were. But I assume they were really nasty because Profar swung at all three of those. I think they were all sliders. They looked like they were all sliders. And he laid off one of them, right? He swung, I think, at the first two, laid off one, and then went right back to the slider and swung and missed at that one. So had an opportunity there with the runner in scoring position, couldn't come through. That's one of those I feel like where I need to tip my cap to Andres Munoz because of how nasty that guy is. And we know as Padres fans that saw the early Andres Munoz with the Padres. And then in the ninth inning, Jackson Merrill had the opportunity there. 2 walks to start the inning, 2-0 game. And, so Crony Manny walk, and it feels like, okay, here we go. Here's the chance. Are they really going to come back? This would be a great, what's today? Wednesday afternoon win at Petco Park. Just come back in the ninth inning like that against a former Padre. Let's do it. But Donovan Solano grounded out, put runners on second and third, though. So kind of did his job there, 1 out. And I liked what happened because I saw Solano ground out and like, okay, it's not a double play, second and third, and you got Jackson Merrill coming up, your all-star, who is one of the best outfielders in baseball this year. But he struck out. And he didn't strike out looking, so, I'd rather have that than him strike out looking, right? He struck out swinging. But obviously he knows, and he wanted to put the ball in play at least there, at least get a run in on a sac fly or something. And then, what was really painful was the ending there because David Peralta, like I mentioned earlier, he had a great at-bat. It seemed like he was on it. He was on those pitches, fouling balls straight back a few times maybe. And then hits that soft liner up the middle, and it ends up being caught. That like 2-second period there where we're waiting to see is it going to drop or not. It's great because you're like, okay, here we go. And then just pain, absolute pain when the Mariners catch that there to end that game. But again, like I said, it's a game of inches. And hopefully Michael King will get better luck, get better run support his next time out. But this was his last outing, I believe, before the All-Star break because this next series, they've only got 3 more games left before that break. So King, go get some rest. We're going to need you in the unofficial second half of the season. We're well past the official first half of the season, but unofficial second half after the All-Star break. But I am encouraged by what I'm seeing from Michael King. I think he's been one of the bright spots for the Padres this year. There's been a lot that I can point to. But, yeah, Michael King in the rotation for sure. He is one of those. Him and Waldron for sure. Now, someone who's not going to be in the rotation in the unofficial second half of the season, at least to start, is Adam Mazur. I think Padres fans hope that we're not going to see Adam Mazur again, maybe the rest of this season. And it's nothing like against him. I just don't think that he is ready to consistently be in the rotation for a Padres team that is trying to go make the postseason. He needs to find a way to locate his pitches better, command those pitches better, stay away from the walks, not be so reliant like he was the other night on that breaking ball or on the slider more specifically. Command the fastball, command that slider if you are going to keep going to it over 40% of the time. And, I think the big question, like I said in my post-game reaction coming off of yesterday, was what's happening now with that fifth spot. Adam Mazur goes 4 2/3 in the Padres' 8-3 loss, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 punch-outs, gave up 2 home runs. One of those, the Cal Raleigh homer, not mad at that. Dude was on his front foot, somehow hit that ball out. The Julio Rodriguez homer, that ball was absolutely crushed, though. I think that was Mazur that gave that one up. we knew it was trouble, like, right in the first inning where there was a walk, there was a hit by pitch, there was the single. J-Rod, man, that dude smashes the Padres. Whether it's on defense last year, robbing the home run, whether it's on offense, hitting bombs at Petco, or just doing damage in any way possible. He's fun to watch when he's not playing the Padres, that's for sure. But he has the single, top second, Ty France takes a hanging breaking ball over the middle of the plate to right center there into the gap, and Polanco scores. Now it's 2-0. Then the rally homer, it's 4-0. J-Rod makes it 5-0. Rally homer he homered from both sides of the plate, not all off of Mazur. But yeah, Cal Raleigh showed off his power for sure. Yeah, Crony and Higgy had homers, like that's cool, and it's really a cool story what's happening with Higgy and career high 11 home runs. But what I care about the most is, did the Padres win the game or not? And they didn't. And what was the issue? Well, a big issue was the starting pitching. When you give up 5 earned runs, you immediately put your team behind. It's going to be hard to win when you're facing Logan Gilbert on the other side of things. And he's having quick innings, and he had 87 pitches through almost 8 innings last night, sub-3 ERA. You're going to run into great pitching, but you're also going to run into great pitching in the postseason as well. So at some point, the Padres have to beat great pitching if they want to get to the promised land, right? But the whole Mazur thing. So the good news is, and you'll see this if you go through the Padres schedule, they will not need a fifth starter for I think over 2 weeks. I'm pulling up the Padres schedule right now, because obviously you have the All-Star break that resets guys. There's the off day tomorrow. So they come back from the All-Star break. They've got 3 games at Cleveland. Then there's a day off. Then they've got the 6 games stretch in a row against the Nats and the Orioles. But then there's a day off again before they face the Dodgers and I think the Rockies. So the next time they would need a fifth starter, I think, would be during that Nationals-Orioles stretch. Or maybe it's the Dodgers. Because Mazur, so 1, 2, I think it was 17 days that Kevin said. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I think the Orioles series is when they would need that fifth starter again. Could be wrong. But the good thing is, okay, so Mazur can be sent down, which he already was today. Logan Gillespie, not Gillespie, Gillespie. He got called up today to be that last guy in the bullpen. And this Padres team, right, the deadline is, I think, end of July. So the Padres could not just wait till the deadline. They could go get a starting pitcher by July 26th, and he's starting that game. I think that's what a lot of Padres fans hope happens, is they just go get a starter, don't wait around, go get the starting pitcher, and then Mazur doesn't have to go pitch again. He can be depth in case injuries happen, and if he has to come up, then he has to come up. Hopefully Darvish can be back. I don't know if that's too soon of me to ask for Darvish to be back. We just don't know the full extent of the whole family situation, and I, to be honest, just don't want to get into that because that's a personal thing for him. And then Musgrove, that's more August, not July. But hopefully by, end of July, deadline time, they will know how this Joe Musgrove progression is going. Right now, he's throwing off a slope. I think that was the latest update from Schultz when he was talking to the media. I think it was earlier today before this series finale. Throwing off a slope, but he's throwing off a mound. How many pitches is he? We didn't get a very detailed update on Joe. So he's not coming back soon. That just doesn't feel like that. So how many starting pitchers are the Padres going to get, I guess, is the question. I feel like it's a couple is what they probably should be getting to be safe. Because going down the stretch, do you want to have Adam Mazur come back up? They could go with Johnny Brito, but he's not built up right now. he could be built up by the time they need him, but his last couple of outings, he's given up like 9 earned runs combined. I'm not really worried much about that because it's El Paso. I'm more worried about how many innings is he built up, and he's not. He has not gotten 2-3 innings in his last or his first 2 outings since being sent down in late June, I believe, to be built up as a starting pitcher. So that's going to take some time. Who else do you got? Jackson Wolf? Robbie Snelling doesn't seem to be ready. Dylan Lesko, no. I think the Padres were hoping that Robbie Snelling was going to be ready, maybe post All-Star break, but it feels like that's not the case right now. So who are I mean, is it Eric Fetty that the Padres are going to be targeting from the White Sox, I want to say? Is it a starter from a team like the Nationals or the Mets or the Rangers, right? Because they can be like, well, let's go get some top prospects that are near major league ready. We're not going to go win the World Series this year. And, they have a decent excuse, a much better excuse than other teams to say, no, we're not going in this year. The Rangers won the World Series last year. So I think the fan base can be like, hey, it's not our year. There's been injuries. Let's re-gear for 2025. For 2025. We just had the World Series in 2023. It's not the end of the world. Where there's other fan bases where it's like, if you're anywhere close, you better not be doing that. But the Padres, maybe they can capitalize. Jesus Luzardo, that's another one where maybe Preller acquires him, but he's not going to be ready till August because he's on the IL. So, I don't know. I think after the draft, as the deadline gets closer, there will be more names thrown out there. Obviously, Garrett Crochet is a name that's thrown out there. Michael Kopech is a reliever, but I'm sure his name's going to keep getting thrown out there as a potential target. I'm sure there's other Tyler Anderson from the Angels aren't going to make the playoffs, obviously. He's an all-star, but so like how much of a return would that cost the Padres to get someone like Tyler Anderson? I'm just throwing out some initial names out there. I'm sure maybe some Blue Jays starters might be out there if the Blue Jays feel like, hey, let's just try Bichette and Vlad for next year because this is not working out this year. I don't think those guys are going to get traded. No. Crazy things have happened before, though, right? But, Adam Mazur just doesn't seem like he is ready. He hasn't gone 5 innings since his big league debut, and that feels like such a long time ago in Anaheim. And there was some luck there. He got a lot of contact, and a lot of those were double plays. The double play was his friend that night there in Anaheim. So, again, it's nothing like personal against Adam Mazur. It's not like I'm here trying to bash the guy. I think he was put into this situation where there were injuries. Drew Thorpe was traded for Dylan Cease, or else he would be up instead of Mazur probably. Brito they sent down to El Paso. Vasquez would be in that spot, but there's a couple of injuries. Waldron's already here, so like you're just going down the pecking order. You're just going down the list here, and Adam Mazur was that guy, that next guy. And so the Padres pretty much had like no choice other than to go with that option. And there we go. He has a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. If he commands that pitch, if he starts to command and get more comfortable with some of those other breaking pitches that he was not throwing over 40% of the time like he was the other night, then maybe there's something there. He could get dealt before the deadline. And the Padres get pitching in return. And that team that, isn't contending, that trades the Padres a starter, sees something in Mazur. Maybe it's Graham Pauley that goes. Who knows? But just throwing some names out there. And I'll get to the chat. Actually, there's a little bit of a Xander update as well. I'll get to that after this quick break. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. All right. Some of the other great partners of the show, Breaking Tea, they've got Padres, Aztecs, and Wave shirts and sweatshirts. Click that link in the description. to the Padre game today, I was wearing my Mr. Relevant shirt, hoping that he was going to come through. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but hopefully he can come through during that Brave series. How are the Braves looking, by the way? Let's see. They're in Arizona right now, 51-39. The probables for the Braves Padres series, let's see. They switched it around. So it's not Vasquez on Friday. At least according to Jeff Sanders, it's going to be Waldron. And then I think Vasquez is Saturday. But Friday is 6:40 Schwellenbach for the Braves. Saturday, the pitching matchup, Vasquez and TBD for the Braves. That one is a Fox game, 4:15. So got the national TV there. And then Sunday, Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. That one's at 1:10 and TBD for the Braves. So we'll see. But this is a team that is much better than the Padres record-wise. But the Padres, if you remember earlier in the season, I believe they took that series against the Atlanta Braves. That was the series that Bogaerts hurt his shoulder. He has not been with the Padres since in a big league game. And it seems like, getting to the Xander update here, it seems like he will return on Friday for that Brave series, which means that Donovan Solano will not get as many at-bats as he is now. That's what it seems like, because Manny's at third, Kim's at short, Bogaerts at second, Cronenworth back to first, Arise DHing. I don't think they want to take Arise out of the lineup, although he hasn't been doing as hot as he was when he first came to the Padres. So maybe they give Arise a little bit of time off. There's the All-Star break here. Maybe they give him a little bit, and they have Solano be the DH based on some matchups, have Arise pinch hit and not be in the lineup consistently. I don't think having Solano on the bench is the worst thing in the world either. It provides some more depth, but Bogaerts is going to be back at second. And he singled, I believe, in his first at-bat with Lake Elsinore tonight. He'll be playing tonight and I think tomorrow for Lake Elsinore. He played with AAA El Paso. He DH'd and played second for a couple of games there. He's not doing the two-handed finish. He said initially that he was going to be doing the two-handed finish, but if you've watched video, he's not doing that. And he was speaking to the media the other day at Petco after he had 20 live at-bats there against Daniel Camarena. Maybe there were some other arms there as well. And he was pretty much just saying, that's just not me. My follow-through is one hand, and I believe someone tweeted out that Xander, the shoulder's not an issue. He feels totally fine. And so that gives me assurance, and that makes me feel better of him going back to that one-handed finish. I don't think that he's rushing it. I don't. As a competitor, and Xander's a competitor, you may think oh, I hope he's not rushing it. But he's playing in a good amount of El Paso and Lake Elsinore. It's not like Trey Turner came back from an injury to face the Padres. He had no rehab games under his belt. So Xander, he's going to multiple rehab places. El Paso, and then come back to San Diego, take live at-bats, and then go to Lake Elsinore for a couple of games, go play with Leo DeVry. And so, to me, that seems like he's not rushing it, and he does feel good. So, as long as he feels good, I'm not going to question, is he returning too soon? Nope. If he's good, he's good. And the Padres, they need his bat. Now, some would say, do they need his bat, Ben? But what I would say is, when Xander, at least with the Padres, when he's come back from an injury, and I get it, this isn't the wrist, it's the shoulder. When he has come back from injuries, he usually plays better. When he gets the cortisone shot for the wrist, he played better right after that. He had a really good start to the 2023 season, if you remember that, in April. So I'm hoping that he can do that coming back from this injury here. The timing, you could question, why come back for 3 games against the Braves and then have the All-Star break? Why not come back for the Braves series? Solano, it'll be fine having Solano in the lineup. It's fine having Crony at second. He provides value there. It's fine having Arise at first, even though with what happened today. Why not rest some more and then come back after the All-Star break? But you better not be those, if you have that argument, you better not be those same people that are like, every game in the regular season matters. Because if you have that argument, then Bogart should be back against the Braves. He should be back as early as it's right for him to be back because every game matters. And there's a reason why he got that money. Now, was it an overpay? Yeah, but there's a reason why he has the All-Star appearances and he's a World Series champion and he put himself in a position to get that money, right? He doesn't stink. There's talent there. So I'm really like my point or my opinion here is like I'm excited to see Xander Bogaerts back. Some fans may not because they feel like they've enjoyed seeing Donovan Solano, Donnie Barrels, and Cronenworth playing well at second base. But Xander Bogaerts is one of the stars of this team still. And I believe that he can help this Padres team win. And again, it goes to the depth. Bogaerts is back. That means Solano is a bench depth guy some nights. Maybe it's Arise some nights, Kim some nights. It just makes it a better situation, for this Padres team. There's more of an option. If guys are struggling, you can have someone come off the bench. Where right now, if someone's struggling, Solano's pretty much in there. You're not going to have David Peralta in there consistently. I know he was in the lineup today, but like he's not going to be in there consistently, especially if like Tatis is back too, when he does get back. I know Peralta's been playing right and Bryce Johnson's on the team, but hopefully you get my point there with the depth. It improves it, obviously. By the way, another great partner of the show, Underdog Fantasy, 50% deposit match up to $250. You can claim a special pick as well. Code Talking Friars. Click that link in the description. And same code for SeatGeek. Talking Friars, $20 off your first order there with your email. Check them out. Maybe you want to go to Padres Braves this weekend. Go to SeatGeek. They'll hook you up. All right. Devin says lack of fight once again. Okay, so I tweeted this out earlier on the trolley ride home because I'm seeing this and I get it. It's social media. It's not all reality. But I said it's crazy how when the Padres win, I see some people saying how fun and special this team is. But when they lose, they're terrible, lousy, and don't even try. Because I see that. I see when Manny has the walk-off homer. I'm not saying you can't be happy. I'm just saying maybe keep some of that same energy, realizing where the Padres are at and not be so reactionary after every loss. I get it. They lost 4 in a row. It's not fun. I'm not going full Mike Schilt here where everything is great. I totally understand that. But to say that this team lacks fight, they lacked fight once again. Maybe you saw something in the dugout on TV if you're watching the game on TV that I was not seeing because I was at the game. But I saw a fight from David Peralta in that at-bat on that lineout. I don't think Jackson Merrill's not fighting up there at the plate when he struck out. He struck out. It's baseball sometimes. Like, that happens. I'm definitely not going to say Profar stops fighting even though he struck out. When Jake does something wrong or he doesn't come through, you can hear the F-bombs on TV, So the lack of fight thing, you can lose me with that. Yeah. Maybe some of you agree with what I'm saying. Like, it's funny how everything's all great when they win, but then when they lose, it's like people think that they don't care. They're lousy. It's like, were you saying that the other night? I mean, it's the same players. Team hasn't changed. A lot of comeback wins this year. A lot of fight I've seen in this team this year. So maybe we're watching different teams. Big P says, I'm actually losing my mind. Well, all right, you're losing your mind over a team that's in a playoff spot right now. That's just saying the facts. Yeah, Devin asks, how come the team didn't wear the 84 throwbacks? Yeah, I was disappointed I tweeted that too. I was disappointed that they didn't do it because they've done it in the past. I mean, there's pictures online of Khalil Green in the 84 throwback. They've done it before, and it's awesome. I don't know if it's a Nike, like, is Nike not allowed to make those uniforms? I don't know, because teams have so many different uniforms nowadays. You can't make a special 84 throwback when you're celebrating the 84 team. I mean, the Padres, they changed their social media stuff to 1984 style for today. So it's not like it's not like they warned us like, hey, it's just going to be the regular uniforms, but I would have loved to see that. Yeah, I would have loved to see Jackson Merrill wearing a 1984 Padre jersey. That would have been sick. The only time we see that is like that giveaway 84. I think it was the Tony Gwynn shirt that they gave away the other year. What was that, last year, a couple years ago? Caesar says, I expect Waldron to help us get back on the winning side against the Braves tomorrow. Yeah. They had the favorable pitching matchup. I kind of now, I'm not saying Matt Waldron is Logan Gilbert, but I don't know a ton about this Brave starter that's starting on Friday. And Waldron has been one of the Padres' best starters this year, if not the best starter, most consistent. And so I feel like the Padres had the favorable matchup. I feel like it, but the Braves are a good team. Look at that record. They're a good team. JD's third says, great expectations. Talking to Caesar here in the chat. Don't tell Manny you have them. Yeah. It was bizarre. His response to Marty, like, does he have to go at the media? I don't understand that. It's like he gets defensive or reactionary to it. And him saying, like, I guarantee you his answer, if he would have stopped like halfway through his answer, and it's up on Marty's YouTube page, you can go check it out. I think it's like one of the last questions in that video from the other day, yesterday. If he would have stopped halfway through, it wouldn't have been on social media. But because he kept going and talked about you guys, and you guys keep putting words in my mouth, and see, you guys keep saying expectations, so I say expectations, even though I'm not in expectations. I don't like talking about expectations, even though he said earlier in the answer, we expect to win every day. So, like, no, you do have expectations. You do like that. It was just a confusing answer. But yeah, Manny was like, essentially saying, like, I don't like the word expectation, but then don't say that you expect. Literally, he said expect. We don't expect to, or we expect to win every time, every game. We don't like losing. We don't like being a loser. Yeah, no S. I think it's fine to just embrace the expectation. Is it because of last year, how high of expectations there were, and the team fell flat on their face? So he doesn't want any expectations on them this year? Well, I'm sorry. You don't play in a town that doesn't care about their baseball team. You play in San Diego, where we have a lot of passionate fans about this Padres team, and we're selling out games, spending a lot of money on this team, investing a lot of our time in this team. So we're going to expect things from this team that has a bunch of hundreds of $1 million contracts on it, long-term contracts, five all-star players, a manager that's been to the playoffs multiple times with the Cardinals. Yeah, we're sorry. We're going to have expectations. Sorry if you don't like that. Go play for the Tampa Bay Rays then. Caesar says we were pretty much playoff bound, just like we were in 2021. Another meltdown in AJ's. Oh, yeah. If they melt down, if they don't make the postseason, then yeah, AJ's gone. If they make the postseason, I think it depends on what happens after that. Because Preller could make the case like, hey, Tatis has been out, Bogarts has been out, Manny's been playing hurt, Musgrove's out, Darvish is out, Estrada's been playing with like flu-like symptoms. Who am I missing? Profar's battling the knee. Um, I had to trade Juan Soto in the offseason. There's a lot of stuff I've been dealing with, and we made the postseason. Like, he can sell it that way. But yeah, I wonder what that threshold is for AJ to keep it. Is it based on the result, or is it based on how things feel? Like in the clubhouse, in that ballpark, in those offices, how does it feel? How's the relationship between AJ and Eric Kutsenda, AJ and Eric Grupner? We know they don't like AJ as much as Peter did. No one does. So yeah, I just wonder that. Big piece is after every loss, I have to watch Ben to calm me down every time we lose when we shouldn't. I lose my mind. I'll start losing my mind if like they're out of a playoff spot and they've lost like 6 in a row and guys aren't coming back from injury. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying it's early. I'm not saying you shouldn't be worried at all, but it's not the end of the world, is what I'm saying here. Well, it's Waldron pitching tomorrow, not Vasquez. He's, I think. Jeff Sanders, he said, yeah, Friday, Waldron, excuse me, Vasquez is on Sunday. So Waldron's on Friday, Saturday is Cease, Sunday is Vasquez. That's what we got for the Brave series. JD's third asks, why all the secrecy with you folks offering prayers for his family, but we don't know what we are praying for? It's wild and crazy. Well, because it's none of our business to know what his family is going through. Just as good human beings, we're thinking of him and his family. I think that's all. It's not my business what he's going through. Yeah, I agree, Iron Swan. Yeah, talking about the depth when Bogey comes back. Having Solano as a pinch hitter is such a luxury that we're lucky to have. I mean, this guy, I think he was on a minor league deal, right? Teams could have had him, and the Padres have him as a depth guy when Bogarts comes back. JD's third says AJ's had excuses for 10 years. He'll be here through 2026, even if we miss the playoffs. I don't know about that. He's going to be here through 2026 if they miss the postseason. So that will be one full season postseason appearance in 9 full seasons, not counting 2020, obviously, for AJ Preller. Multiple rebuilds. He's gotten so many manager hiring opportunities. He got to hire his guys, then hire a veteran manager. Then that relationship went to, the trash. And then he gets to hire Schilt, who's been in the organization. He's had a bunch of trade acquisitions and free agents and trading guys away after it didn't work, and he's still here. I think it's going to be one of those like, what what could go worse if you don't make the change? Like, why not try to make the change? AJ Preller is very talented with evaluating talent and selecting good baseball players out of the draft. The developing's been a question, but he's good at identifying. He's good at identifying big league players to acquire. I think he's made some bad trades, just like every GM in baseball has, by the way. But he's made some good deals, and I think there's GMs around baseball that would agree that he is one of, if not the best, evaluator, scout of talent as a GM in the game. So there are pluses to AJ, but it's a results-based business. Would you rather be entertained by the GM because he makes a bunch of moves, or would you rather be a postseason team year in, year out? Padres have not gotten to that point yet. That's just the way it is. And I like AJ. If they make the playoffs, I guess for me, it's not just results. I want to see how it looks as well and what moves are made. But I'm not sitting here saying like AJ needs to go regardless of what happens at the end of the year. I'm just saying, if the results are bad, like not making the playoffs, then I'm going to have the opinion probably of why not make the change? Why not? He's had a lot of time to build this team into a consistent, not playoff contender, consistent playoff maker, right? Let's get there. And it hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. All right, episode 616, Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Padres, they've lost 4 games in a row. We'll see if they can play up to the level of competition. The Atlanta Braves coming in tomorrow, or excuse me, maybe they're coming in tomorrow. I don't know if they're playing tomorrow, but there's an off day on Thursday. Manny Machado camp tomorrow at Helix, where I went to high school. So that's going to be pretty cool. I might pop over there to see what's going on if they're going to allow that. But then Friday, Padres are back in action. Padres, Braves, those 3 games before 5 Padres, or 4 because Tatis isn't going to be going. But those 4 Padres All-Stars go on a plane to Arlington for the Derby, the All-Star Week festivities before joining the team on the road, I believe, in Cleveland. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Have a great night. See ya.